Hi guys, it's Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Vanessa and I love to talk about books. Earlier on in the week I made a video of all of my 5-star rated Goodreads books, and since then I said would you like to see all of my 1-star rating, and I got an overwhelming yes. So here I am making a video that I'm actually terrified of making because I feel like I'm going to offend so many people in this video. Because this is the internet, I feel like I need to make a quick disclaimer. I feel like every book in the world that's been well read has received a 1-star rating. Books are a consumer product. They are the same as movies, makeup, clothes. Some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it. I don't take 1-star ratings lightly because I know that the authors may see my 1-star review and it might hurt them a little bit. Authors put their entire being and soul into writing a book, and I don't want to be the person that makes them upset by my review. However, I also have integrity as a book reviewer to be very honest about how I feel about a book. I'm not going to like every book that I read, and I need to be honest about that, or else I feel like I have no honesty or integrity. So I hope that people can respect that. I'm sure authors know that when they put a book out into the world, there's going to be some people that don't like it, and I'm sure the author is prepared for that, or else they wouldn't allow their books to be on a Goodreads platform where you can actually give things a star rating. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So the first book that I've come across on Goodreads that I give a 1-star rating to is The Lemon Grove. The Lemon Grove has an average rating of 2.8 on Goodreads, which for the Goodreads platform isn't very good. The Lemon Grove is an adult contemporary novel which was very popular a couple of years ago. The only reason that I actually knew about it was because of Booktube, and it was because it was doing the rounds on Booktube. I don't know if the publisher's done this as a sort of sponsored event, because usually adult contemporary doesn't necessarily trickle into Booktube as well as this one did, but that was how I knew about it, and I think I got The Lemon Grove out of a library. The Lemon Grove is about an older married woman who goes on her annual holiday to Spain with her husband and her husband's daughter. However, on this holiday, her stepdaughter brings along her boyfriend. I believe her boyfriend is about 17 or 18. And the older married woman starts to feel some sort of attraction towards her stepdaughter's teenage boyfriend. I don't have a problem at all with age gap relationships. However, the plot of this novel felt very manipulative, and the older woman tried to come across as a victim at some points when actually I thought that she was the one that was being manipulative. There was just something about all of the characters that really unsettled me, and there wasn't a single character that I liked. The review for this I actually left on Goodreads was I hated every single one of these characters, every single one of them. There was absolutely nothing redeeming about this novel at all, and I just really didn't like it. Because I didn't like the plot and I didn't like any of the characters at all, there was just nothing that I felt I could give this book a 2-star rating for, hence my 1-star rating. The next one is New Moon, which is book 2 in the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer. I did actually give this a 1-star rating 10 years ago, and I still actually stand by that 1-star rating. As a teenager, I did actually enjoy the Twilight series as a whole. This was the only book in the series that I actually rated 1-star, and I believe the reason that I rated it 1-star was because of the way that Bella was being when, what the hell's his name? Edward. When Edward left. I feel like Bella's portrayal in this novel wasn't healthy at all. There was just something about a girl pining over a boy when she's a teenager and wasting her whole year on him. It just didn't sit right for me. I didn't think it was a good message for other teenage girls, and being a teenage girl at the time, it just didn't sit well with me either. And now as an adult looking back, I wouldn't want teenagers to think that that was acceptable. I mean, your feelings are acceptable. If you are a teenager and you're heartbroken over a boy, that's absolutely fine to feel them feelings, but you should recognize that it's unhealthy and that you need to get help for them feelings. Whereas in this, I thought it was a little bit glorified, which didn't sit well with me at all, and I'm glad that the film sort of glossed over that. They didn't give it as much airtime in the movie as what they did in the book. I mean, half of the book was just descriptions of Bella being very depressed, and also nothing happens in this book plot-wise. It sort of looks more into the love triangle that Bella has going on with her and Jacob, but apart from that there's absolutely like no action in it, nothing happens in it. I just thought as a book it was very, very boring, and even compared to the other Twilight books it was really poor. So again, I couldn't give this a 2-star rating because I didn't think the writing was very good, I didn't like the plot, I didn't like the characters, I didn't like the topic, and I felt like nothing happened. Hence my 1-star rating. Oh, and I forgot to mention this has an average Goodreads rating of 3.5, which isn't too bad. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit controversial with the next one, but if you're not new to my channel, you'll be expecting this to come up regardless. The next book that I gave a 1-star rating to was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. Me and Sarah J Maas don't really see eye to eye when it comes to literature, however I am now reading Crescent City and I am enjoying it, so I'm very open to getting to know Sarah J Maas's books a little bit better. However, with this one I thought it just really missed the mark with me. This actually has an average Goodreads rating of 4.24, so I am totally in the majority for this and I totally accept that. I know that this book is a favourite series for a lot of people, however I was really angry that I finished this book because I really wasn't enjoying it. I read this book on holiday as well, and I just wish that I had ended it a lot sooner than I did, because by the time I ended it I just felt like I'd wasted an entire day. A Court of Thorns and Roses I believe is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It is a new adult novel that reads a little bit like YA. I mean, we all know the plot of Beauty and the Beast, so I don't feel like I need to sum up the plot of this novel very much. It's a little bit more magical and it's a little bit more out there than the original plot of Beauty and the Beast. I just genuinely found the plot to be very boring, and I thought that the plot was very immature for a book that had such explicit content in. There was nothing enjoyable about this book. I didn't like any of the characters. I actually thought the main character was really annoying. I thought the romance in it was really stupid and immature. I didn't believe in it at all, and I thought the plot, I mean, I'm a person that really enjoys out there plots, but to me the plot was just, it felt so immature for such a mature book with such graphic sex scenes that made me cringe so much in the way that they were written. The one thing that I will give it is well written, apart from some of the cringy ways that explicits are described. However, that just seems to be like Sarah J Maas in general, because she's done the same in Crescent City, but I am enjoying that because it is a new adult book with adult themes. This one just wasn't a book that I could get behind, so for that reason I gave it a 1-star, because the book just left me angry because I felt like I'd wasted my time reading it. I remember finishing it and thinking, this is genuinely one of the worst books that I've ever read, and again I just feel like I have no integrity by saying that I thought this was just okay, because I didn't. I really hated it. The next book is Survivor by the author of Fight Club. I really enjoyed Fight Club. I think I give Fight Club a 4-star reading. However, Survivor I really didn't enjoy. Survivor was the 4th book that I actually read by this author, and the rest of them have been okay. They've not been anything special like Fight Club was. I felt like Survivor was an attempt to recreate the fame or the nostalgia of Fight Club, but just really didn't work. This has an average Goodreads rating of 3.92, so again I seem like to be in the majority, although there is a lot of reviews which are 1-star that echo the feelings that I have. The book is written from the narrative of someone who has hijacked a plane and is intending to crash it, and he's basically speaking his suicide note to the black box recorder so that he can, I don't know, go down in flames, I guess. This character is the survivor of a death cult, and this has caused him many struggles throughout his life. This book has so many similarities to Fight Club. The main character goes to sort of recovery classes and meets a woman who is very troubled herself, and they start a harmful relationship with each other, which is exactly the same as Fight Club. So I felt like this book lacked a lot of originality. I actually didn't care about any of the characters in this novel. I thought the main character was very arrogant and very self-absorbed, which is not something that I enjoy from main character at all. And I did read it because I'm very interested in cults, and the book actually didn't focus that much on his cult background at all. So yeah, my 1-star rating for this book came from, I thought it was a poor attempt at recreating a book that caused the author a lot of fame. I didn't like any of the main characters. I didn't like the subjects involved. I didn't think it was well developed, and it was very boring, and it was a slug to get through. slug. It was a slug. It was a slug to get through. Oh my god. The next book is September Girls by Bennett Madison. This book has an average Goodreads rating of 2.9. This book is set in the perspective of a young boy who, his dad and his brother moved to this island which is inhabited by beautiful teenage girls. And the beautiful teenage girls are very alluring to the boys, kind of like in a way that reads like they're a siren, and there is some fantasy plot twist about who the girls actually are. The reason that I didn't enjoy this book at all was because I didn't like the way that women were depicted in this book, but women are very much seen as objects to be desired in this book, which I really didn't like. The main character is an arrogant, cocky young boy, yet all these beautiful teenage girls seem to be like drawn to him, like he's drawn to them, but the girls are also very much like want to be with him and want to like touch him and like be with him, and I don't know, it just felt very... it just left a bad taste in my mouth actually. Someone actually in the Goodreads review section has started picking out parts of this book that they didn't agree with, and actually it really mirrors how I feel about this book, so I'm just going to read you some of the snippets that they include as their sort of evidence for why they didn't like this book. Sebastian always advised me to ask questions when in doubt. Girls like to talk about themselves. If you can't think of anything to say, just ask some dumb question about nothing, and if you're lucky she'll go off and you won't have to say anything else for another 10 minutes and she'll think you're a great listener. And also I thought this was very dumb. I wondered if the earth was flat, and if so, where did the water go when it tumbled off the edge? I mean, I'm not an idiot. I'm 99% convinced that the world is not flat, but I believe you cannot be sure about anything until you've seen it with your own eyes. And maybe it's just the limitations of photography, but I've seen those photos of Earth from outer space and it looks flat as a quarter to me. What? And although Sasha had remained obviously into me in the weeks following the party, texting me non-stop and leaving long and pointless handwritten notes in my locker, I'd quickly decided that she was annoying and not even all that hot. Okay, I'm starting to like really remember why I really didn't like this book. And oh yes, I remember this quote quite well because it's probably the most disgusting descriptive I've ever read. I actually thought about calling Sebastian for advice, but I couldn't practically hear his voice. Wait, this is all over some girl? Don't be such a vagina, dude. I mean, dude, you go to the beach for 1 month and you turn into a human tampon. Ugh. So yeah, I don't think we need to say anything more about that one. I think it's pretty evident why I rated this 1 stars. The next one is the Crimson Petal and the White. I swear there is so many dogs living on this street. It's okay, I'll wait. It stopped. Okay, I have no idea what I'm up to because I genuinely took 4 minutes for that dog to stop barking outside my window. So this book is rated 3.89 stars on Goodreads. So again, I'm one of the minority. This book came in at over 800 pages. It's also recommended in the Gilmore Girls series as well. So I picked this one up in a secondhand bookstore. This book is about a 19-year-old prostitute who lives in Victorian London and she wants to ascend society's ranks. If I'm honest, I don't remember much about this novel because I did read it 4 years ago. However, the review that I gave for this on Goodreads also doesn't help me much because I just said I don't think me and the point crossed paths when I was reading this book. Which really doesn't help 4 years later me trying to review the book, if I'm honest, and justify why I gave it a 1-star rating. I just don't remember too much about this novel. I just felt like it was really boring. So I'm really sorry to Michael Faber, the author. I can't justify why I gave this a 1-star rating because I genuinely can't remember. So I think we're just going to move on from this one. The next book is Afterworld by Louis Walden. This book has an average rating of 3.3 on Goodreads. However, this has only had 17 ratings, so I don't feel like it's given the book a fair chance. However, my experience of reading this book was pretty grim. I didn't finish this book. I got to the point where, you know, we'll just talk about the plot and then you'll see which point it was. So this book is about a family in Louisiana who are multiple generations of sugarcane farmers. Sugar has made the family very wealthy, but is also ready to destroy them. Hurricane Katrina is looming, which is going to destroy their fields. However, the book mainly focuses on the family themselves and deception and love amongst the family. This book just genuinely wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It had ghosts in, it had... Okay, I know as soon as I say this word, this video could get banned. So I'm just going to spell it. I-N-C-E-S-T. That is in it. And that is the reason why I did not finish this book, because as soon as that came up, it was a big nope from me. I have read books of this topic before. I've read Flowers in the Attic, but I felt like that was done in such a shocking way, but you sort of understood the reasoning for it. In this, I just felt like it was put in there for shock value, and I thought it was done in a very distasteful way, so I stopped reading this book, and I wouldn't recommend this book to other people if I'm honest. I rated this 1 star because I couldn't finish it because of the topic. I didn't think the characters were very good at all. There wasn't any that were intensely likable. The plot itself wasn't very interesting and captivating. There was nothing about it that I liked that I could give it a 2-star rating for. The next one is Ghost, written by David Mitchells, who is quite a famous author. This is actually his debut novel, and it has an average Goodreads rating of 4 stars. So again, in the minority for this one. I did actually write a Goodreads review for this one, so yay for me, because it really helps me out now. So I think I'm just gonna grab my laptop and read that out for you. I did not finish this book at 90 pages, so I didn't actually get very far into this book. Right, okay. I was expecting a lot for a book that's littered with 5 and 4-star reviews, saying how clever and intelligent this book is. However, I can't. Nope. The characters have been introduced so far are deplorable and seem to be on the trend of Murakami, who is mentioned, where women are wrote about horrifically. I'm guessing this changes further on with the introduction of female characters, but after reading the word slag 3 times, I can't go on. There are a few words that I hate to say on paper, but this is one of them. What a childish and disgusting term. I'm sick of reading this type of language. There is nothing cool or intelligent about it. Had I not read 2 Murakami books previously, I may have been able to tolerate this a bit more, but I literally went not against Satan and threw this book across the room. Moving on to other books, not going to waste my time reading something that annoys me. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that review. Murakami is a very famous Japanese author. He's probably one of the most famous Japanese authors. However, I have read 3 of his books and I didn't enjoy them, but I don't think I've given any of them 1-star ratings. I did do a whole video about my problems that I had with Murakami and sexism and the way that they spoke about young girls in a sexual way. So if you go onto my channel, you will be able to find that. And I believe I started reading this book off the back of actually reading them once. And at this point, I was just sick of the way that I was reading women being portrayed in books. I totally get it, using this sort of description to get the point across that the male person who is the narrator in the book may not necessarily be a good person, but there is much better ways to do this without using words like slag, which I think are absolutely disgusting terms. And there is really no place for a word like that in literature, in my opinion. So that is the reason why I gave this a 1-star rating, because I couldn't get past 90 pages. I didn't really get to the plot of this book because what I read had annoyed me so much. But again, that's just my personal opinion, and obviously my preference on language in books really influenced how I felt about this one. The next one is Dominion by C.J. Sansom. This again is a very, very popular book. This has a Goodreads rating of 3.8. It's had over 10,000 ratings, so again I seem to be in the minority for this one as well. Only 2% of people have actually given this a 1-star rating, so this is just genuinely my opinion, and it seems to be one of these books that me and the point maybe don't cross. This book is a long read. This is an alternative history book where Germany were the victors of World War and Britain is now sort of under the rule of Germany, and the whole anti-Jew, anti-Semitism feeling that was around Germany at this time is now starting to trickle into Britain. However, Churchill is leading a resistance, and the main character, who is of Jewish descent, joins the resistance to try and get Germans out of Britain. Again, I wrote a review on Goodreads, so I'm just going to read that out to you. This book was a massive struggle. Every time I put it down, I didn't want to pick it back up. Again, that's one of my biggest reasons for giving books a 1 or a 2-star rating. This could have easily been cut in half. The amount of over-explaining was headache-worthy. It made the whole story dull and dragged out. For a 700-page book, the plot could have been summed up within 1 minute. None of the characters were worthy of my time. I cared for none of them. Although every single character loved the arrogant main character, if I had £1 for every time one of them said he was a good man who cheated on his wife, led other women on for his own gain, and lied to his wife about his entire life, leaving her to grieve on her own for the death of their son. He was pure awful. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little context for that one as well. So the main character of this novel, he is, like I said, of Jewish descent, and he is part of this wave of anti-Semitism in the UK. Therefore, he joins the resistance against Nazism in the UK. However, he doesn't actually tell his wife that he is of Jewish descent and that he would be classed as one of these people that should be seen as sort of second-class citizens. And at no point does he think about telling his wife that he's actually part of this resistance, which could put her life in danger. Their only child dies in an accident when he was about 4 years old, and his wife is struggling to come to terms with their son's death still. And that seems to be a point of contention for the main character. He seems to fall out of love for his wife because his wife is still grieving for their son, which to me made absolutely no sense. I genuinely hated this main character so much, but everyone else around him said he was such a good man, and every other woman in the plot was willing to die for him because they loved him and fancied him so much. As a female, I'm absolutely sick and to death of reading things like this. I know I keep going on about it and it makes me seem like I imagine a lot of people are watching this like she's such an annoying female, but honestly I feel like I'm allowed to dislike characters because they don't align with some of the opinions that I have, which makes them very much not relatable to me. And I do feel very strongly about that as a topic. So if a character doesn't respect females just in the same sense as if a female character didn't respect men, I just don't like the character. And if I don't like the character, I don't care about the plot of the book, which is why I gave this one a 1-star rating, because I genuinely didn't care about it at all. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone right now, I genuinely don't mean to. The next one is Origin by Dan Brown, which is the 5th book in the Robert Langdon series. Generally, I really enjoy this series. I'm a bit of a heartthrob for Robert Langdon. He's my guilty pleasure. Now we have a horse outside. It's like an entire zoo in my street today. Robert Langdon, guilty pleasure of mine. His Robert Langdon books I've generally rated very highly. This book is rated 3.86 stars on Goodreads. Again, I'm a little bit in the minority of this one, but this book genuinely I didn't finish because I really didn't like the plot. All of the Robert Langdon books follow a similar formula. Robert Langdon is a symbology and religious iconology. So basically what this means is that Robert Langdon is a professor in deciphering ancient or cryptic codes, and he's usually brought in sometimes by the police to help them track down cults or to see a cult association with symbols left at murder scenes, or famously his ability to crack the Da Vinci Code riddle. And the books are usually set across different places in the world, and they basically turn into a historical religious adventure with like guns like pew 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 and murder and cults and lots of weird things. I can see why people dislike any of these books if I'm honest, because they're just so weird, but I don't know, I just find them my guilty pleasure. However, this one I just genuinely didn't like the plot. I felt like it was a very weak addition to the series. There wasn't anything about it that stood out as being fantastic or amazing in this one, so this one I just put down to one side and I left it. And I can't really give a book 2 stars if I've felt like it's bored me that much that I have to put it down, hence my 1-star rating for this book. However, that didn't put me off reading the books that came after this, because the ones after this I started enjoying again. So I think that is it for my 1-star ratings. Again, I have no intention of upsetting anyone by this video or making anyone offended. Like I said at the start, books are a media to be consumed and not everybody's gonna like them. And this is the reasons why I didn't like them. So there we are, they are all of the 1-star books that I've rated. I don't take it lightly. I've read over 300 books, and I think the fact that this is such a small list reflects that I genuinely usually enjoy what I'm reading. Yes, I am stingy with 5-star ratings because 5-star ratings to me have to be like the perfect book. A lot of my books generally are 3 to 4-star ratings. I like 5 stars to be like that special standout. If you haven't seen that video, it was 2 videos ago. Please go and watch it if you like this video or if you're interested to see what kind of 5-star books that I've rated. And please let me know in the comments if you want me to make any other videos of this format. It's been fun making it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!